them in a little bit. Talking Brotality, I didn't get to see you.
I saw them. You guys are amazing.
Yeah,
That was serious. So
this is my brother.
I know, on the camera. Is this for the podcast?
Yeah, I'm also right now. Yeah. Everybody, welcome to another On the Road episode of Atheists Having Cocktails with Christians. I'm down in Springfield, Missouri for the Chains Unchained Festival. I'm my good friend Jimmy Brown from Deliverance, and George and Manny and Jim from the Crucified are playing today, so that's the reason I came down. I have not been to a Christian show in many years. So I just figured we'll kind of walk around and talk with some people and kind of see what the scene's about nowadays, since I have not been a part of it in quite a while. Okay, so follow me around.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about guitar, This Brotality been around since about 2018. Okay. This crew joined the fold in about 2022, early 2022. Okay. Yeah, man, that's my brother over there. So which ours? Right here. How's it going? John and Reese.
Nice to meet you. I'm Simon.
Yeah.
That's my brother John.
Nice to meet you guys. Yeah, we're just brothers making brutal music, man.
Now, are you guys a Christian band strictly, or are you just more of a band?
We don't call ourselves a Christian band. We're Christians, and so it's in basically all of the lyrics that I write, and we share a message of hope and love through the tonight. But also, we love ministering to people that have never heard the gospel before.
Okay.
That's what we feel called to. So
are you guys a band, or are you guys a ministry?
I mean, I guess both.
Okay.
I mean, certainly we wouldn't be doing it if it was just for the music.
Right.
So, yeah, our hearts are definitely in it for being able to tell people that they are loved, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
And what calls you guys to play this kind of music? And what do you guys do altar calls? You preach on stage, or is it just you want to have to check out the music and then go from there?
Yeah, we kind of, so, I mean, in terms of Protestant music, we all just grew up on it.
Yeah.
Our parents, huge metalheads, and they're also supportive of us. So, that's where that came from. And then from stage, especially because we play a lot of places that, if you say Jesus, it's they don't know what to think of it because they've never heard it before. So, first and foremost, we just want to, let people know that they are loved eternally, and that, in what they're struggling with, that they're not alone, and that even when other people fail them or let them down, there's a creator who will never go away, and his love chases after them. So we share that message from stage every night. If it's a Christian venue, or if it's the farthest thing from a Christian venue.
Do you guys play with other non-Christian bands as well?
Most of the time. Most of the time. We're not.
How do you find the non-Christian bands treat you guys when they figure out you're Christian? Do they treat you as equals as musicians, or do they act standoffish because you have a message different to them?
Yeah, honestly, we've never really had any of those situations where it's someone finds out you're Christian and all of a sudden it's game over, no more relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been able to, I think with metal as kind of the bridge between, we've been able to many of the that group with you and just tell them that you are right, you do matter.
Right. Well, what do you say to the people that, like myself, who was raised in the church, kind of walked away from it, when, you see all the really, in my opinion, a lot of the really bad things Christianity brings, you know what I mean? Hypocrisy, lies, genocide, so much things that, especially the Old Testament do, so the story of Jesus, I would say one thing if it was just a story of love and redemption, but then, it's that kind of conjury where it's what do you say to the non-believers to make them believe that they'll have what you have?
I think like the gospel message is a message of love, and so that's where we start. Like that's where we start from. Before there's way too many Christians telling people how wrong they are before they are loved. So we try to right that wrong as much as possible, and I mean that's what saved us. Like just holding on to His love. So like first and foremost, like anyone at any crowd we're playing in front of, we just want them to know like they are loved eternally. Because, and then all the other stuff like conviction and like the morality and all of that comes from being in a loving relationship with your Creator. And so the love thing just has to go first.
So do you find that morality has to be a Christian issue, or can it just be a human issue?
I think it's definitely partly human in terms of like I think we all agree that there's certain things like right and wrong.
Yeah, that's my point. Is I don't think we need some made up divine thing telling me or telling society. I think as humans, if we evolve with our brain, and things change over time. We're able to know love and compassion without having this gigantic sky daddy that tells me what I have to do. You know what I mean?
That's why again, with our like mission, it's not an issue of like how you're acting. Like we want to correct you. We want to make you act right. That's not what we're about.
Yeah.
It's about like we know that like if you're human, you're struggling with something, or you have that, or you will.
But isn't that a very, very presumptuous, egotistical attitude to have where you don't know me, you don't know anything I've been through in my life, and that I'm struggling because I don't follow your belief system, or that I'm empty, or that there's something wrong, and that I'm not fulfilled because I don't follow what you guys believe,
I think an important distinction is that struggle isn't brought on because of separation of God. The struggle is just human condition. No matter
paying the bills, life, things get rough.
Yeah, I mean, regardless if you have faith in anything or not, if you're still in struggle. So it's not really it's really from a place of you're struggling because you don't know God.
A lot of Christians talk that way. They say you're incomplete, you don't know what you're doing, if you're a sinner, you need this, you don't, you're wrong. So they're trying to force it down your throat and say, I have the answer. There's so much we don't know about life and the universe and all that. I mean, that's fine. I have no problem with people believing whatever they believe.
Yeah.
But it's that thing that, it's the certainty that Christians have to say that I know what happens when I die. Because nobody knows that. Until you've gone through it. And, I could be wrong, I could die and stand in front of St. Peter and be like, I'm messed up. You know what I mean? I don't believe it. I don't believe there's sufficient evidence for that. But also in the same way, I don't believe in the devil. You know what I mean? Just because I don't believe in God doesn't mean, I don't believe in Satan. You know what I mean? It's I think that's why a lot of the metalheads kind of get a little weird when they get, the satanic band. It's well, if there is Satan, then there is a God. So therefore, kind of playing the devil's advocate. But as an atheist, I just don't believe anything. I don't believe that there's enough evidence to prove change my life.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Yeah, man,
I know this guy kind of jumped on you guys. Oh, dude, we got here late, and so, I went to see you guys play a little bit. I was I was looking you guys up, and I was like, your band's really good, so.
Thanks, man.
So, you guys remind me of, the mortification, kind of more, power metal.
Okay.
So I know. My show gets a little heavy, and I don't have a lot of time, so I'm kind of jumping into shit.
Oh yeah, sure, man. I love these guys.
Yeah. So that's just where I'm coming from. Where we have all these people. Obviously we can agree that the Bible was written by men. You know what I mean? So therefore, men take on their own interpretation, different cultures, different customs of the time. So therefore, we're looking at 2,000 years old. It could be very, outdated compared to what we are today, or even what God would want today.
Yeah, I think, for me personally, I think in recent years, I've kind of had a rediscovery of what the Bible means personally, because we were raised Christian. And so growing up, I think I had more of that I should be reading the Bible. And so any significance would kind of just be from what the pastor told me.
Exactly.
I've had moments in my life recently though, where I cannot explain it other than it's Jesus. Like moments where I've like been struggling with like intense anxiety attacks in the middle of the night where I can't fall asleep. Stuff like coming up from my childhood when I would have like panic attacks, stuff like night terrors, and I would have just these moments where like, you know, and even like it would almost supersede logic, where like I would just feel the presence of something else, and I know that it's him. And like in the past like year or two, and especially since, I've like struggled with things, I would say more than I had before. Like leaning into like the Bible and then discovering like that like it is a personal message. Like when I open my Bible this morning, like I need the words, like what it says to me and like the hope that it brings to me. It's like I can't describe it almost, and I wish I could. But I know that it is like it was written like thousands of years ago. But at the same time, like more than any other book, I can feel that it's a personal message to me too, like a love letter from my creator.
I hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, but also it could be a sense, you know, like if you look at like Hinduism and whatnot, where you're having those anxieties, like you focus, you breathe, and you open up your consciousness to where you get to that other realm, so to say, where you get that feeling of peace, and it could be something else. I mean, that's the main question I have is everyone's so sure it's this. It has to be this because this is what this book says, and it applies to your life, and I understand that. But there's so many other things out there that, Buddhism and Hinduism, you know what I mean, that are very, very tantric that, do very much kind of the same thing without the damnation part.
I think one of the most powerful things for me about the Bible is like when you track all of the interconnections beneath all the books. Like the Bible is 100% like pen by hand, and that's the way that it's like completely like God created. Like they're just the pen writing down the word, and there are like so many consistencies in the Bible. Like there's maps that show all of them.
But that's historical, man. I mean, the Earth is, that's always going to be there. But here's the problem I have with the New Testament. And Christian scholars even say this. They don't know when all four of the books were written. They don't know who wrote them. They've never had original transcripts to even go and see. And then the story of the resurrection in the four books, there's four different accounts of what happened at the resurrection. For one, the angel was in the tomb. One was the angel was out of the tomb. There was one where zombies came up through Jerusalem and started walking, and all the dead was raised. So, I mean, for me, I'm not bagging on anybody's head, you know what I mean? Like, I just want the Christians, I think personally, to really, like, instead of just reading the book and understanding, see where it all comes from. You know what I mean? See the contradictions in that. You know what I mean? Like, do we really, really believe that, like, some drunk in wherever, built a boat and was able to capture two of every animal? Come on, man. You know what I mean? There's just so many stories that just, they're allegorical. I don't believe that they're a literal representation. I think they're a story of morality or whatnot.
And I think there is a lot in the Bible where like, you take the story of Adam and Eve.
Yes.
That's that Earth is 6,000 years old.
Exactly.
There are things like that where I totally believe. Like it is allegorical. It's not like this is 100% that. But there also are plenty of it in the Bible where like it does corroborate things from hundreds of years ago. And
why would I want to be for eternity on my knees worshiping something? You know what I mean?
I tend to think about that, like, if there is a God, who's, like, I don't think God's as weird as God.
No,
if there's a guy that created an entire universe, and I'm in front of him, like, how would I not?
Well, no, but it's also the thing in the Bible that says, like, if we won't praise his name, he'll make the rocks and trees sing and praise his name. That is such a narcissistic thing. That is such an egotistical thing where if I can't make my creation love me, I'll make this love me and praise me anyway.
I would say that he's not making anything.
No, he's not, but if we don't, then we're nabbed, then there's eternal punishment. So it'd be different if, like, as Christians, if you guys follow him, man, you're in paradise, you guys get the reward. But us non-believers, now we just go on our existence or whatever. But there has to be this brutal, evil burning of salvation hell for eternity because you didn't listen, you didn't want to follow what he had to say. Would you do that to your kid? If your kid disobeyed you, would you want to put him in horrific punishment for the rest of his life if he disobeyed?
Yeah, one thing that I've expressed looking into a lot. I don't know if you can remember this of it, but it was one of the things he talked about with Peter, is about like the eternalism of hell and what that actually means. But like I forget what the name of this speaking is, but it's very much like you can very much interpret it so that it's not just like eternity in hell, no matter if you're Hitler or if you're just a great guy that didn't believe in God. It more just talks about like spending time after your life like apart from God, because if you didn't choose to love Him in the present when you were like being on earth, like I guess why choose to love Him and be a part of after that?
But also, why can't He show me and prove to me that He's worthy of my admiration and my worship?
I think he can. And I think it comes, and I know he can. And for me, it comes from a place of I would say one of the most beautiful things about Jesus and about like the Savior that I know is that like He doesn't ask that you put yourself up first, but that you get to a certain spot first, that you read the Bible first to get there.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus says, "Come as you are, come as you are."
yeah,
I get that.
it's truly just like you have to do nothing, absolutely nothing, but just say like, God, like
But you have to bow. You have to bow to Him. You have to do something. It's not a gift of freedom of just here's a gift. You don't ever have to do anything. You have to give something up for that.
I mean, if you think about it, like I guess I'll pose this question. Yeah, it's like God proved Himself to right now, and all you had this one-on-one, this creator of the universe that is outside of time and space. Like, wouldn't you feel pretty like?
Well, of course, I would be like, wow, that's deep. But also, I think for me, I would want questions answered before I bow to my knee. I still, even if God showed up right now, that doesn't mean I'd be like, I'm going to follow you. I'd be like, all right, I agree that you exist at this point in time, but now as God, you need to show me why you're worthy. You know, because of all the things that have happened in life. Like, I don't believe He's a fair creator. I don't think He's a just God. And I don't think He's worth my time and my worship.
yeah, and man, like
like I said, sorry, you got a little head on this, but
no, you're good, man. One of the songs we played tonight is kind of about these questioning, like these like tragic things that happen, like where you can't just say like, this terrible person, something terrible happened to them. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like good reason, right? Terrible tragic things happen. So one of our songs we played, it's me questioning that, questioning the idea of suffering. But like at the end of the day, it doesn't lose the fact for me, like because of the personal experiences I've had, like that are just they're supernatural. I can't explain them except like I've had moments where I've just started like crying and I felt this weight literally lifted off of me, right? And so those moments are so grounded in who I am now that for me, all the questions, all the things of like, God, why does this happen? Why do you let this happen?
yeah.
They are secondary because first of all, I know that what's up, brother?
The name is Jimmy Brown of Deliverance. We're going to hang out with him in a little bit. Talking to Brotality. I didn't get to see you.
We saw them. You guys are amazing.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
That means a lot to
Serious.
you, man.
Thank you so much.
So see, this is my brother.
I know on the camera. Is this for the podcast?
Yeah, I'm filming right now. Yeah. No, you're good, man. I'm going to get to you here in a bit. Yeah, I'm on the road. Came down to see my buddy. That's it, man. No, you're good, bro.
Yeah, he's always the best.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry, man.
No, yeah, you're good. But anyway, like for me, all of those questions.
Where did I come from?
How did
Yes,
right?
there's one way in
They're secondary because
Yeah,
first of all,
we're
I feel this love that it genuinely just we're like,
Do you only feel love in Jesus? Do you not feel love in a pet or in a brother? Or, you know what I mean?
yeah, but they're not my savior, and I need saving,
I don't think we need saving. I think we need. Yes, I think humanity needs saving, but in a different way than what the Bible says. I think we need saving as we need to elevate our thinking into, helping each other as people and healthcare and, schooling, that kind of stuff.
And I think Jesus' heart is in the same place as that. I think.
Okay, but then, let me ask you, this is my final question, I'm going to get going for this. But then why do most evangelicals vote Republican? Were they both against their best interests? You know what I mean? I think that's one of the craziest things. All these evangelicals come out voting for somebody who does not care about them. That is not doing his job for them.
Dude, I mean, I don't want to get
I hear you.
deep in politics here. I don't understand.
I don't get it.
I think there gets to be a certain sticking point that if you're Christian, you have to vote for that one point, and then people just end up voting for that point
Without knowing really what they're doing.
a million other things that I don't think either option is good. I
Same here.
think one is way worse.
Yes.
And I don't know why many people do that. And I believe that firmly that even biblically, Jesus is anti-political
I agree.
in
Either
our
side.
Yes.
Either side.
Yes. And so, like, he came and, like, he was persecuted by everybody.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't pro-Pharaoh or
Yeah.
pro-anybody. And so I think as Christians, we're called to be the same way. And, like, no matter what you believe, but, like, if you're a Christian and you say, like, I follow Jesus, I don't believe you should have, like, the name of a political figure in your front lawn. Because then, who are you pledging your allegiance?
Well, also at this point in time, especially what bothers me is the church gets involved and they tell them what to vote for. If you're doing that, then the churches should be not taxed. They should pay their taxes. They should lose their tax exempt. And if you want to be a political, machine, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then you don't get to be tax exempt and free of all the great privileges you get being a minister.
I think if we were going to church and like right around 2020, and we were sitting at the sermon and they start throwing like little election tricks.
Yeah.
This is not what we
Yeah.
Jesus would never accept that. So I agree with you. I can't understand where any of that is coming from or how people that's opening that in their head. But I think that is a major downfall of like modern religion, Christianity. It's just another one of those things where like that religion aspect gets so corrupted from everything that Jesus taught. So it's like you have to remember like there are a lot of poor people in the church who are proclaiming that like this is exactly how it needs to be done, and it's not exactly
I hear you.
how it
I hear you. And it's going to be an interesting 6 months until next year.
Yeah. Christian nationalism is a huge oxymoron.
It's totally.
So like,
It's fascism, basically.
any way you cut it,
Yeah.
I'm like, no way, man. Like, I'm not. I just like, I know that Jesus is my savior, so I'm not expecting it in whoever that I'm gonna vote for. Like,
Man, dude, I enjoyed talking with you. Man, it was fun.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate
What's your name again, brother?
Reese.
Reese?
Yes.
Bryce?
John.
The quiet one.
Uneducated.
You know, honestly, I will say, since I started doing this show about 2 years ago, man, I've really had to like get back into the Bible and really start doing more research. So I'm like, when I was 15, I knew it. Now I'm like almost 50. I'm like, shit, I remember as much as I used to. So,
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it, man. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, no sweat. Big guy. Come on. I want to talk to some Christians today. No, you're good. Okay. Like I said, my name's Simon. Who are your names? Justin. I'm Buddy. Buddy?
Jimmy.
Jimmy? Justin. And I'm assuming you guys are all Christians.
Yeah.
Okay?
Bad example of one, but yep.
I hear you.
I'm real.
All right. Zoom out a little bit. 1 second. So, there we go. Perfect. All right. So, what bands are you guys still seeing tonight? Brutality. They were good. I caught them. They were
It
good.
was really good, yeah, Brutality.
They were a good band.
Living Scars was really good.
I missed them. You didn't get to see them.
Yeah.
What kind of music are they?
Metalcore. I think metalcore.
Nice. Okay. Very cool.
I went to Closing of the Temple. It was my first time seeing them.
Did they play already?
Not yet.
Are they next? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still to see them.
Nice. Very cool. So, give me a reason why you guys believe what you believe. As me, an ex-Christian, grew up in the church. Was baptized, all the way. Pretty much started leaving the religion when I was about 19, 20. Definitely kind of went to the route of it full-on atheism about probably 25 years ago. So, I just like to kind of know why people think what they think in this day and age where with science and with things that we can't prove or what we know, what keeps people believing, a 2,000-year-old culture. Yeah.
Well, I think it's more of a faith thing.
But is faith, I'm not being rude, faith is a personal thing that you believe, and I get that.
Yeah.
I could have faith that, I could fly, but that doesn't mean I can. You know what I mean? So the whole faith thing, I understand it because that's the foundation of Christianity. But also,
I think creation, like, who could create something out of nothing? Yeah.
But we have scientists that show how this universe started. We know how. It's maybe not the best example of everything, but that's the beautiful thing about science is that whatever it believes, until it finds better information, and then it changes its idea. So therefore, it's always evolving. You're always going to learn new things and not be stuck in. We know at this point in time the Earth is not flat. We know that the sun. We revolve around the sun. There's been so many things that we've learned in this last 2,000 years that I just don't understand why we need a deity when there's no proof of a deity.
Well, God and science, they're not mutually exclusive. I can say that.
Well, of course. I mean, you can put any kind of Christianity spin onto science, but that doesn't mean that it's real science, because I have a thing where it's like if you already have a predetermined notion of what you believe, you're trying to put a round peg into a square hole. We're going to try and fit and make your hypotheses fit what you believe, other than just having the explanation or the answer of what that answer truly could be. That you're always going to try and find the spin on making it your belief system that coincides with that system. These are hard questions, man.
There are. I mean, none of it is truly explainable. I mean, I just know that in my darkest of times, like a year ago, when I was this close to canceling myself, I can't point to anything other than God saying, "Step out of it. You got 2 kids. Both your sons.
Okay.
I'm 1.5.
You can join in anytime, bro. If you're hanging, I'm like, man, jump in the conversation, man. This is going to be an intellectual mosh pit. We can do this.
Both of my sons are in the hospital.
There's Jim. What's up, Jim?
So both of my sons are in autism. So
What was atheist? You really believe it was God saying it, or just you were snapping out of something saying, I love my children, I want to be here for my children?
it was a struggle from all different directions. It still is. Every day is a struggle.
Definitely.
I come from addiction, my entire line of mental illness and mental addiction. And there's meds, and therapy, and stuff, go back and forth, and some help, some don't. Yeah. But I can't put my faith in just the world, or lack of faith, whatever you call it. Okay. I'm almost 40 years old. I mean, of course, there's always doubts. And I got friends who are vehemently atheists, and I got friends who are hardcore. And, it's hard to see everybody's struggle. I try to stay out of the whole back and forth, because they will be a bicker.
Oh, they're totally. My show is not about a fight, it's about a conversation. I like just, I'll debate you, I might disagree with you, but it's not me ever wanting to attack anybody's person personally, because I'm just coming out as somebody who grew up in the church, who, by the time, I was 15, I was wanting and working to be a youth pastor. That's what I wanted to do. And then just over time, I started reading and learning about other religions, because I always thought, I don't know enough about this, so how can I condemn something I don't know about? And then the more I started reading other religions with Hinduism and, all these other things, I came to a place where some of that made such more sense than Christianity did. And especially with what's the word of it? I don't know the right word, but especially we know that there have been so many stories in the Middle East and in that region way before Christ. You have Krishna, you have Ishnu, you have all these people that still have the exact same story that Jesus had. But, we know that, Hinduism is the oldest religion in the world, which is over 6,000 years old. Christianity is only 2,000. So, I mean, maybe people were copying other things and it just became the religion of the time, I'm not saying, I believe that there should be spirituality. I like having a connection with something, but I don't believe that I have to bow down and to live a certain way or believe a certain way for my creator or a creator. If he created me and loves me, he would just let me be, I wouldn't demand sacrifice and worship and all those things, I have kids. I didn't create my children to be slaves, I would, if, I had my daughter disobeyed me, I'd never send her to hell forever because she didn't love me. I don't think that the God of the Old Testament is worthy of praise and worship. I think he's a very cruel entity. But that's my take on it, You're not wrong. Yeah. But then why follow it? Why buy into it? Why give your time and your money to an organization that ultimately is going to fail at some point in time and doesn't really give you anything other than hope? That's really what the church does. Just other than a sense of community with friends, we're social people. We're going to find our tribe no matter what, and people we like. But really, I mean, they take the money and give you a magic bean and say, you're not going to know if this bean sprouts till you die, and nobody knows what happens when we die. Nobody can tell me that I know. Anybody in this place can tell me you know exactly what happens when you die. Well, until it happens. Again, I hear you, but then why confine yourself into a way just hedge your bet, just so that maybe I don't go to hell? Just that. These are hard questions, gentlemen.
So let's put it this way. So I know where you're getting at. I feel that maybe there was church hurt somewhere.
What's that?
I think there's probably some church hurt somewhere.
A lot of people on my show have said that. It wasn't church hurt.
I've been to church hurt before. Church.
Yeah.
I was raised in church too.
Yeah.
I know.
But no, my walking away had nothing to do with me being pissed at. That's the thing. Everyone's like, you're mad at God. I'm not mad at God because God isn't real. I'm mad at the people that are lying to me and telling me stories and taking my money and then, getting busted doing the most immoral shit in the world. You know what I mean? And it's P.T. Barnum said it best, man. A fool and his money is separated quickly. You know what I mean? So I've seen the song and dance. I've been to Benny Hinn and see him doing his fake fucking heathens. You know what I mean? I've seen, and I'm not saying that there are bad Christians that really, don't care about people, want to help people, but at the end of the day, you're still trying to sell me a bill of sale on goods that you don't even know if it's real. You can believe.
So I think for me, like I would rather take a chance and go to heaven.
So you're holding your bets. That's taking a chance. That's not faith. That's not love. That's just saying, I'm going to clean up the kitchen so Mom doesn't kick my ass. You know what I mean? That's saying I'm going to do my chores so I don't get in trouble. That's not like that's for me. That's just a crazy way to think that. I'm going to do it this way just so that I get, I mean, I guess not because, we live in a system where, you're working, you get a paycheck, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. But, I don't know, just the finality of everything that Christian, the church and the Bible teaches, it's not, in my opinion, very moral at all. It's actually pretty messed up. And I'm not talking just Christians. I'm talking, Scientologists. I'm talking Catholics. I'm talking, Mormons. I'm talking,
there's evil everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah, once you put a man's stamp on something.
I'm going to go to church. I'm going to get away from evil. That's not always true.
Exactly.
Because I've seen evil in the church.
Oh yeah.
Because I've been raised
exactly
in the church. So like I said, I've seen the good and the bad and the ugly of church. Unfortunately, I've seen more of the ugly.
But if God's all powerful, then He can stop it the second.
I think that's where free will comes from.
But we don't have free will. We have free will to choose.
You have a choice.
Yeah, that's not a free will. That's a choice. That's saying you either choose the right way or you're damned forever. So if it'd be a free choice, so if you can choose whichever you want, you're just not going to give the reward that I give the followers. You're just going to have your own thing. That would be at least a different choice than if you die, you're going to fucking hell, and you're going to spend eternity in fire and brimstone.
It's the cussing.
I know, sorry about it.
I know it's a habit.
I don't know.
I know it's a habit. I've been there.
Sorry about that.
And I've been there too. I think we've all been there.
We're good. I'm good. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, thank you, man. Appreciate you. So.
He's a good guy there too.
Yeah, he was super nice guy. We were chatting. So, but like again, I don't think this is anything that can be changed. But it's just I'm running around. I like talking to people where they're
That's like organized conversation. I don't like people like this, but okay. when people beat each other up. I like to have a conversation with people. This is what I'm doing. This is why you may differ from me in something. A lot of people don't agree with the Christian devil. I have so many people on my Facebook saying, that's of the devil. I'm like, and what makes that of the devil? You know what I mean?
For me, the only problem I have with any Christian music is that they've obviously taken whatever style from a secular realm and made it.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't believe that. The one music I don't believe exists is Christian black metal. There's no such thing. You're just black metal. What about black metal? That's what I'm talking about. Black metal is a very specific style of metal created in the region that was made to be what it was. You can't take something that is inherently demonic or satanic or whatever you want to think and turn it Christian. You know what I mean? Like Christian death metal. This is Wayne. He is the proprietor of the event.
Hello.
And he was kind enough to let me film and interview people. And I reached out and made sure it was going to be okay.
That's fun.
Yeah. So tell me, are you from Springfield? Do you live here? Or?
Grew up in San Francisco.
Okay.
Got into music into the business side of music at about 81.
Okay.
Worked in secular music until 1990.
Okay.
Just a whole lot of garbage in my life. Homeless at 15. $160 a day meth habit. I mean, and just a whole lot of crap. And so left California, short story, left California, moved to my grandparents in Florida. They got drugs in Florida, so it didn't last for very long.
Yeah, drugs everywhere, buddy.
Don't know people, Florida's got drugs.
Everywhere's got drugs.
But that's where I got into church, though, eventually.
Okay.
After a little bit more of a struggle with addictions. So I guess about near the end of 91, just surrendered to serve. I moved here in 91.
Okay.
Came here to go to Bible college, met my wife, stuck around until I graduated, moved to Michigan, to Detroit for a year, worked there, inner city church, and then came back.
Okay.
And I've been here. So I've been here longer than anywhere else.
Right on. Okay. So what drew you the inspiration to do this festival?
Okay. So I've been into music because, like I said, I've worked with Metallica and Testament and Death Angel and all these amazing bands now that people see as like big fours.
Oh, yeah.
The stadium bands now, they were $5 for 4 bands. I got a flyer here. Metallica of an opening. It's an opening band, $5.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah,
it's
that was the name when it was affordable to go to.
Yeah, when you could afford it, and it was actually bands you wanted to see.
Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles. So.
Okay, so you got it.
Yeah, you go to other than you find the house party, $4 cover charge,
all you could drink,
see Suicidal for $10, see Ill Repute, all the legendary punk rock bands where I grew up. So
that's my wheelhouse. Loved all the hardcore underground crossover, Cro-Mags.
Oh yeah,
Verbal Abuse. All these.
The New York scene is great. Yeah, Sick of It All.
Yeah,
Bold.
That's what my music was.
Yeah,
and so that's what my life was.
Yeah.
And so I traveled. I played bass. I wasn't really good at it, and so but I knew a lot of people that were good. So I kind of rode their coattails and got to live my dream.
I hear you.
On the side of stage and managing stages and being a roadie. No. So
I did roadie work too. Yeah. I've been in bands off and on 20 plus years, and
that was my life.
I hear you.
And so once I got clean, this is my way to give back to that same culture, to speak back into it. That culture, when I was in, it was so dark. That's literally why I had to move from California to Florida. Is it?
Wow, I take it does.
16 years of addiction. Absolutely nobody I knew was not an addict.
Yeah.
Everybody I hung around with was addicted to alcohol or drugs or whatever.
And so every time I quit 100 times.
Yeah, no, here.
And I quit 100 times on Sunday night, and I picked it right back up Monday morning when I woke up. So that was the extreme. I had to.
Do you put that on the, when especially with Christians with this kind of music, we put on the evil of metal?
No.
Okay, that was just your personal choice.
I started drugs at 10.
Okay.
Now, I had some issues that came into my life when I was 10.
Definitely.
I was molested. I had easy access through a friend's mom. And a friend of mine, he took it before school.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, let's run around back and we smoke a little pot. And
Yeah.
from there, it was like, hey, look, I got this. And it just, it was, for me, it was a really great way to get away from the crap.
Totally.
Yeah. And that's where it spiraled out to.
Okay.
Honestly, my parents were Mormons that didn't practice. Nobody in our family went to church.
Yeah.
So at that point, if you just said it was evil, I'd have said, no, it's not. I chose to do it. I picked it.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to have personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And can't blame it on this or that. You chose to do it. There can be, extenuating circumstances that push you towards things.
But you choose.
But you choose ultimately what you do.
Exactly.
So do you think that the church saved you?
No.
No?
No.
What saved what saved
I think
you?
the relationship with Jesus. To me, the church isn't, to me, when I look at the church today, I don't see a whole lot of what the church was. See, this is why we do what we do, is because these are in our mission statement. We want to reach out to the people that the church ignores. There's such a large segment. The church has gone away from what culture was, what culture is. That doesn't mean that we participate in culture, but I don't hate anyone in culture for what they do.
No, but I understand what you're saying, because especially when I was a kid in the early late '80s, early '90s, groundbreaking bands like Deliverance and Tourniquet and Vengeance and all of the Crucified, those were evil.
I can imagine what it was like.
I remember my youth pastor just freaking out like, you can't listen to this.
I remember the Reagan years with C.D. Bird.
Oh yeah. I grew up in the evangelical world with the Satanic Panic and the burning of the books and the devil's backmasking and everything. Do you think that Christians in that era were using fear to gain numbers?
I don't know about using fear to gain numbers. I think so this is Wayne's Theory 101.
Totally.
Until about the 1950s, even if you weren't involved in the church, there was I don't know what you call it, a moral understanding. Everybody kind of, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad.
We had a society rule of what was acceptable.
Yes, exactly. And it tended to line with what I would consider, even if you didn't call it biblical, it was just more of a. So if this is a church society, even if you weren't in it, the church was still there.
Yeah, of course.
And so, but as the 50s and the 60s, the culture started to rebel.
And also, you have to think of it this way: as a white person in the '50s, things were a lot better. You know what I mean? That's the thing. The church, segregated churches, especially down, we're close to the South here, white churches, lynching black pastors.
Kind of still, well, not except for that, but the church is still very segregated.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's where I think a lot of Christians, fantasize about and long for this more pure day where things were. Yeah. And I don't think anytime the church has been pure. I don't think
the church has never. Yeah. Yeah, here's what I tell people: if you're looking for perfection, you'll never find it.
No, but you have to at least be looking for something that's tangible and accountable.
Yep.
And that's what I agree with. Yeah, I don't think the church is accountable. I think the church hurts more than it helps in a lot of cases.
Okay, and I could agree with that, but I think that there's there's this thing. I think that especially in the underground culture in the church, I think there is I won't say a push to go back to the 50s.
I think there is, especially with what we have going on in life right now with politics and all that.
Yes.
But then also the evangelicals come out in droves for that stuff,
And let me ask a question. So the church is made up of just people. There's nothing different about me or the drug addict that sits on the street, except for I choose to follow what the Bible teaches.
Now, in my life, I try to live it out, literally.
Definitely.
I don't. I could care less. You know what? I have political views.
Definitely.
But if your views don't match mine, I don't care.
Yeah, but your party votes a lot of things to where if you're voting that way because you are evangelical, it affects real people and the lives of real people.
So I could say the same. Here's we could word chase all right. I could say the same thing about
Democrats. I agree. I agree. I'm neither one of those.
Here's what society does. Society splits us up.
Mm-hmm.
You're black. You're white.
You're poor, you're rich.
You're poor. You're rich. You're red. You're blue.
Mm-hmm.
You're gay. You're straight.
Yep.
You're this.
You're a Christian. You're a Catholic. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. You're a Baptist. You're a this. You're that.
That surprises.
The way that I read Scripture, there's two people. The Bible says, Jesus said that he came to make no difference between the Jew and the Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
In his day, that would have been the religious and the non-religious.
Yes.
He came, he tore back, so he made everybody, he gave us equal footing. The only difference is, do you follow or don't you? To me, that doesn't change your standing.
And also, it's different because, you know, when you think about like what Christ taught compared to the Old Testament, and Christ even came to change the law. That This is a new covenant. Well, but he also said to fulfill his father's prophecy. I understand that. But if we're in a union and we're doing a new contract, and the old union or the old contract was bad for us, why would we?
That's the thing. It wasn't bad for us. Here's what I'm saying. God started with 10 commandments. Man made 262 precepts, 620, whatever the number is. Man made their own rules, and in the book there are how do you not murder? And they made and Christ said, you know what? I came to do away. I didn't come away to do it. He said not to do away with one jot, one tittle, not one line, not one dot. I came to fulfill what you couldn't.
I walked outside.
If we could fulfill it, he never would have had. What does the law do in our country? The law isn't there to punish a criminal. The law is actually there to keep you from committing that in the first place.
No laws stop any.
I understand, but that's the same thing, though. It wasn't. Why do you have guardrails on the freeway?
Because people are dumb.
It's not to keep you from crashing. It's to keep you. Yeah, because people are dumb.
People are dumb. And I'm not saying that. I'm not an anarchist. I believe that we need societal rules.
Exactly.
And we need, as people, you know, if we were left to our own devices, we're going to do crazy shit. Sorry.
You're okay. We're in here.
Yeah, because I know that, you know, we are mammals. We are not this elevated, you know. We're getting there. We're working towards it. I think we've definitely elevated what we are as humans in the last 100 years. I definitely think so.
I think we've elevated our ability to cause more chaos.
Oh, always.
Yeah,
and also, I think we're getting things right. We're, you know, the civil rights movement, you know, freedom from women.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, as far as like social constructs like that.
Exactly.
Most definitely. And here's the great thing. That's what I love. With Jesus, there was no difference.
Yeah.
He said, you are. There is Jew and there is not Jew, and now you're one. You both are hand. There is no. The church is not better, but in that part of the world, the temple is not better than those outside the temple. He tore down that dividing curtain. I believe the same thing now. I don't care. I don't care who.
I'm
not going to say. But so if you're gay, I don't care. I'm not trying to change you.
But do you think it's a sin, and do you think they're going to hell?
Are you going to hell? I don't know. I don't know what your standing is with God. Do I think it's a sin? 100%. Look at me, though. I have an addiction. If I'm giving into this addiction every day willingly, if you knew me 15 years ago, I weighed 650.
Okay.
I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
That's like.
At that point, I realized my sin isn't any better. My sin's different.
I hate that people have to put that on themselves that it's a sin.
Why? If I made that choice, then I get to call it what it really is.
But in your area of expertise with your belief, it's a sin. In my thinking, it's you're making some bad choices that made you unhealthy. And that shouldn't be a damnable thing. It's just saying.
I'm not damning anyone for it. I don't damn anyone.
No, but God's damning if you're sinning.
No. See, that's where
you have to ask for if you're sinning, you ask for forgiveness.
But why? Not because He commands you to. Jesus never once said, you need to ask for forgiveness. He said, hey, follow me.
You have a choice.
But if you don't, then you're
No,
eternally,
then you're choosing.
but then also you're eternally damned if you're not going to play by the rules.
No. If I give you two choices, if I say, look, if you choose this path, this, and when you get to the end of that path, this is the reward. This is whatever it is at the end of that path. If you choose this path, this is what the end. That's what the Bible does. It doesn't. God's not condemning you. God is saying, when it started in the belief of a believer, it started in the garden.
Sure.
God gave man and women a choice, right? God gave them a choice. He didn't say. He said, these are the rules. You can do it, but these are the rules, and the rules have a consequence.
Okay, let me ask you, the Garden of Eden, do you take that as a literal story?
Yeah, why not?
Because it's asinine. Because if you think there's two, hold on, let me get to my point. Let me say my point real quick. You have a male and female.
Sure.
Two people only. Okay. Somehow, they're cast from the garden.
Sure.
And they have Cain and Abel. Okay. So
Well, they have a bunch of others, but yeah.
Well, in the Bible, it talks about Cain and Abel. Okay.
Yeah,
But still, even if they had other children.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the only. Then Cain kills Abel, and then is banished to the land of Nod, where he knew his wife. Where are these people? Who are these people?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't know what happened.
Can't you see that there can be at least contradictions and maybe flaws?
No. Why?
Because he didn't say in the garden he made a family or many people. He said these two people.
Look at the histories back then. Their genealogies were huge. In our time, according to the Bible, their times were much longer than our times.
That does not stop procreation and
Saul, can you put that?
I don't have a key for it. If you go to our merch table and ask where Fred, and ask for Fred, and he's got the key to that. I'm sorry, it automatically locks. It's our nursery.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's scary that smart people that have been through things, will believe that we spawn from two people.
Sure.
And there's black, there's Chinese, there's Asian, Korean, all stemming from two people.
Sure.
It's a crazy story.
So here's my option.
Okay.
Here's my option. We all came out of a slimy pit, out of whatever that bog, that miasma, whatever it is. See, this is what here. No, go to my merch table, and my wife is there, and ask her for Fred. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I hear it. I'm not going to take much more of your time because I know you got stuff.
No, and that's fine. So, out of evolution, you get many from nothing.
No, you get a life form that over time adapts to another part.
No, it doesn't adapt.
It does. Everything adapts.
Okay.
Us as humans.
I'll be right there.
Now, I'm just going to say, I'll let you go because I appreciate you talking.
And here's the thing. If somebody believes something, that's your belief.
No, I agree. But my question is, and this is why I do my podcast and my show, is I just want to know, because I was a believer and I believed the same thing, that God was infallible, everything was real. But then when you look at the logistics, especially science and other things that have real truth and real meaning.
Why are they called theories? Because they cannot prove them. They cannot replicate them.
But theory is different than doctrination. Because at least science, when it's wrong, it only has the information to work with what it knows, and then if something changes, it adapts to it. It evolves into a different theory.
And that's where I would say that is where we have a big split. Is that I think that truth is truth.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it doesn't evolve, it doesn't change. Good has always been good. Just because we do it now and we're more humane with it doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's good.
I hear it.
We find different ways of calling it. With me,
It's that.
with my life before, if for me to say Jesus doesn't exist is crazy. Because there was a change in my life that day. I walked up,
Well,
the week before, I carved my name and I tore all the pages out of their hymnals, and I carved my name into the back pew. Next week, I went back because I had embarrassed my grandparents. Didn't give a crap about it.
I hear you.
Went back and I listened. And in that,
well, at least it's like
something happened, and it was like, Wayne, you don't need drugs. And I took my meth in my pocket, took my pot, walked up to the front. I didn't know what it was. I set it down. I walked out the back door and went out to my car and waited for my grandparents.
I hear you, man.
And at that moment, I realized there's something about that. There is power in what he was saying. Then I started studying it.
Now, things.
If somebody believes something different, that's their free will.
I agree.
And I like this. I like we can talk.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway,
And on
these
some
are
things-
questions that are going to be throughout the ages, my
Yes,
friend.
they will.
You know,
I would love to talk more with you.
I know, but I got to go